We're repairing 2017 MacBook Air today, which doesn't turn on, no response. Also, if we check with the charger, we're not getting any current consumption. This usually indicates that there is a electronic failure inside, so let's take out the board and check it under the microscope. Pull it out, jump under the microscope. Let's do our initial inspection. Yeah, that area doesn't look okay. So this is the SMC controller, which is the main chip which communicates with most of the low-level part of the system, and it is quite sensitive for communication under those traces here. You can see how badly corroded it is. So this is a liquid damage, which seems quite old, probably good 6 months, if not even more. Alright, so let's jump on the microscope and investigate further. Bad thing about liquid damage is that when it dries, it leaves oxidation behind, and that oxidation starts corroding through the components. And you can see how those little components, the minute we touch them, they start falling off like apples from trees. But yeah, so we basically need to clean that area, the corrosion residue, and replace those components. This is the reason why it's so important to act immediately when there's a liquid damage on your Mac, because longer it stays, more and more damage it does, more and more corrosion it does. And if it is an area where it's a much more sensitive chip, it can easily short circuit between the pins of the chip or traces, communication data line traces, which are much more sensitive. So this is quite clear example where the component part corroded so deeply that you can see that little shiny area over there is where the trace on underlying layers is. So we cannot solder component there anymore. That's why you can see how we tried to solder the component, but actually it's not holding onto that little solder pad, because most of the solder pad has already gone. So that's why we had to add additional expansion line like trace, which can then allow us to solder the component onto it. You can see how small. So this is 0.1 millimeter cable, which is as almost thick as a human hair. You can see how delicate this whole job is, and this is magnified under a microscope. So basically, that's a PP bus line which we had to run a jumper wire through to able to pass voltage to the SMC, because that was the reason why the machine wasn't turning on and the Mac was completely unresponsive. Alright, so we run a jumper wire from this side of the board to the other side, because that PP bus to sleep register was corroded completely, and the traces were corroded. So yeah, we have a spinning fan, and let's see if it's going to pull current. There goes 0.6, which is turning on current for this board. Usually it does 3 cycles until it settles. So this is, I believe it's a second or third cycle, 0.56, and now it's settled. So we have a turning on machine. CPU is getting hot. Let's put it in the chassis and test further. Looking at the case of the MacBook, all the liquid was in this area. There is no sign of liquid around the keyboard backlight area either. So most likely, something leaked through the base. So if you look at it, you can see a little bit of a liquid damage signs through the radiators. So this usually indicates that most likely the table was wet, where the machine was stained, or something spilled on the table and they ignored it for a while until it stopped turning on. So board has been installed. Let's see how everything's gonna be. So I get an orange light, charging battery. Let's see, we're gonna get 066, 078, 0890. There you go, 1 amp for a sec. So it does 3 cycles. Take a 1.22, which is a battery charging current, and the system is loading. Let's give it a sec. Come on. Almost there. Mouse is back. Usually takes a little bit longer to load up when there is some SMC related issue. And there you go, system started properly. Seems like a couple previous attempts to turn on failed, so that's why SMC was corrupted. But usually it corrects itself after a couple fire up procedures. And there you go, another successful repair. Thank you guys for watching. If you need the service or if you have any comments, write them in the comments below. And yeah, you know what to do if you want to get alerts on our next or upcoming videos. Take care.